We engaged with FirstCapital after we'd made a strategic decision with one of our group companies that it was too complex and we wanted to split it up into three. So we'd gone through the thinking process internally, but then we had to decide how we were going to execute, and we needed somebody to help us to do that. And FirstCapital were actually the only people we interviewed at the time. We'd had heard good things from one of our partners in our transaction. They did the introductions. We sat down with the guys and immediately we liked it. We liked their thinking and we moved on from there. The framework that they brought to the overall transaction was very clear. It was thought out from day one. They had a process, and it wasn't a generic process that one size would fit all. We'd actually thought through what we'd asked them to do and they came up with a solution. They put a team on the job, and that team didn't change. I mean, previously I've been involved in transactions where teams can change. You meet the top guy, then you never see him again. This one, there was a very clear chain of command. Everybody in the deal did something in the deal. Everybody we met from FirstCapital contributed in a big way to the deal. They all had a different function, but they all contributed. And that's what we got out of it. So smarter deal making means there's something in it for everybody, all the way through, and everybody walks away from it thinking they've won. FirstCapital in this transaction set out the auction process. They got a whole group of investors, they worked out who we needed to speak to, potential buyers, and then they managed that process all the way through in terms of who do we bring in different stages in the process. And every stage was thought through in advance, and then when we had to change tack, which you always do on the way through, they already knew which direction they wanted to go to get to the best outcome for us, but not just for us, but also the end purchaser. I want to sell a business, the buyer I've entered into exclusivity with, they want to buy it. So from there on in, it's about managing the transaction. FirstCapital were very good at managing both sides of that process. They always looked after us as their client, but they also looked after the transaction and working towards the end result. We wanted to take one thing and break it up into at least three. They immediately grasped what we were trying to do. They were able to tell us what was wrong with our thinking, and they were able to tell us what was good about our thinking, and then we sort of reshaped a few things. And I'm not sure we'd have got that out of many other potential advisors. I've had experience of big advisors, I've had experience of small advisors, and sometimes you can just get lost in a process. But FirstCapital delivered for us clear thinking, and they delivered a result.